So good morning everyone. Welcome to a fell above Coniston. I'm not sure what this is called. Kelly Hall Tarn's down that way. We'll talk about that again in a second. But the plan this morning had been to, and the plan actually for coming up to the lakes for 4 days in January was to go and visit Loughrigg Fell and look down over Windermere, because I've shot there before. It's a lovely shot there. When I get some lovely stone walls, like a gate that goes over the top. And my plan had been to do that. When I went to bed last night, the forecast said that we were going to have no rain last night. A little bit of rain at 7, very, very light, with just a few little drops. And then it was going to be clear until 10. So with that in mind, I thought I'd go and do Loughrigg Fell. So I got to the parking actually underneath for an hour and a half to sunrise. It's very dark and it was lashing down. Check the forecast again, and I had done before I went out, but the forecast had kind of said that it's going to be heavy rain, gradually getting worse up until 10 o'clock. So I made the decision not to do that. It did seem a bit pointless because when I got there, I was going to be wet. There's going to be no light. I've looked at one of these photo view guidebooks, and I'm not sponsored by them. I've got 5 of their books now. I'll show you them here. And what's really handy to having those up in the Lake District is that I can immediately find another really good location. So I looked at where I was. I knew about Coniston Water because I photographed this shot yesterday going round. So I thought I'll go to Coniston, and at least I'll be close to the car if it rains and really rains hard. But so I ended up here at Kelly Hall Tarn, and the light's okay. Sunrise is about 2 minutes time, but there's not going to be a great deal of colour. It's not really a black and white shot because the fells are so dark on the left hand side here and a lot on the right, so the tones are pretty much the same. I'm going to photograph in colour today anyway, so what I'm going to try and find, and I have found a little bit, you may have noticed that the camera's already on the tripod. I found a little rock here. Just going to do a view across Coniston. The reason I'm not in a rush is because I'm just waiting really for conditions to see what happens. So we'll shoot here, and then I'm going to walk up over the fell here at the top end here, because I think there might be a nice view going that way. So we'll do that. And today's going to be a bit like one of my days in Scotland. Shoot something, move on, shoot it, move on. Wow, this is tough today. Really tough. It's going to be a really good test of my photography skills. Why is it tough? It's tough because I don't know the area. I've had to change my plans, which has made me a little bit kind of unprepared. The light's not the best, it's not the worst, but I'm at a place where I can see a composition, but I can't quite put all the elements in place. If I just turn you around and show you, got these lovely little crop here of some silver birches, another one there, and on the hill there's a tree on the horizon. A bit of light. Now this way, so over here, there's a mountain range which would be really nice, and there's some nice layers going back, but because I've got this hill in the way, so what I really want is that hill to kind of move this way a little bit and go and stand there, but that's really, really deep water. I've got my wellies on. Just finding it really, you're a bit bright as well, it's darkening you down a bit. It's really tough, but this is true to life. I mean, there are not many people who can come out every day of the week and photograph, but when you've booked accommodation at somewhere like the lakes, I just want to be out here photographing. And I'm frustrated that nothing's really going to plan, but some nice light behind you again now, so I don't know, maybe. Right, I'm going to carry on walking that way, see if I can't get some sort of composition together. Oh, my camera's fallen over, my main camera, straight onto the lens, but it was really boggy, and I've wiped it, it's fine, but oh, do you know when days just go like that? I need to reset, re-go again. It's going to be great. Come on. Right, so I've kind of found this really interesting tree on top of a hill So I went close to the photograph, but I can't separate it from the separate one to the right. I mean, it's attached a little bit now, but what I've got here is some nice interesting reeds. If I'm in the water, in the tarn itself, it's not too bad. Feels fairly stable. Always got to worry about water. Now what I'm going to do is change this to a square crop, because I think that works really well. I'm just going to frame that back up. It's a lovely curve there as well. So where I've just walked down, where I've recorded the last bit to camera over there. So I don't know. So I might just go in without falling over. I'm just going to flick a grad on. Right, so we've got a grad, just a one-stop grad I think is going to be enough. Oop. And I've also grabbed a polarizer. Now, let's make sure we don't drop that in the water. Right, let's have a little look here. So the first thing I'm going to do, so it's obviously darkened everything down. I actually don't even need that on there anymore, so that's not even going to do any good because the light's changed a little bit. I think the GFX is going to cope with that, so I'm going to focus on the tree. And we've got 2 seconds at f14. And that kind of works. Still not sure this is the best picture ever, but we've got something out of the day so far. I'm sure there'll be loads more to come. It's just been really difficult today. I mean, I'm standing here knee deep in water, well, ankle deep in water, just trying to force a photograph a little bit, but I mean, it's a beautiful location. That tree is wonderful. It's been smashed and hammered over the years. And the clouds behind it are, I wouldn't say they're the most interesting, but there's definitely some colour. There's definitely different tones and different shades and different colours in there. So that could work. So I now find myself at Loughrigg Tarn. It's now kind of just after lunchtime. I haven't had anything to eat yet, apart from a banana. A little bit hungry, but it's gone again. I saw the light over the Langdales a little while ago, and the Langdales are probably my favourite mountain in the lakes, that and the Loughrigg Fell range. But there's been some lovely light on top, because we've got this broken cloud. The cloud that's there, the low cloud, is really covered in rain, is really full of rain. It's dark, it's moody. The cloud up above, you can just see is white and clear, and then there's some blue sky. So we've got broken cloud, which means that you're going to get patterns of light, and it might look nice. If we get some light over the side pike or over the Langdales or both, it's going to look a good image. So I need to get the camera set up. I'm going to fly the drone around to keep me busy while I'm doing that, and just to show you. And then we'll, hopefully the light will come out and we'll shoot photographs. Now, what else could happen, of course, is that it could do what it did yesterday, and it could rain, and it could hail, or you could end up running back to the car. But as I've always said, you've got to be in it to win it. And at the end of the day, I'm at the Lake District. I'm photographing. It's a Monday morning. I mean, mustn't mark. You can't grumble about that, can you? So. Wind's got up a bit now. This weather is really difficult, which is also, it's potentially going to be epic, so we'll see what happens. So still no direct light. I was expecting, you can see with the camera, I've gone really low down now. Because I was getting too much water in. Oh, now it's raining. So I cover the filter up by sitting on it. There's too much of the tarn in. Really want to focus on the Langdales at the back. I've got a 10-stop big stopper on just to blur the water, so I'm getting now a 20-second exposure, whereas before I was getting an eighth or a quarter or something like that. Because I want the water to blur. And the clouds are moving across. Looks like there is definitely some sunshine over there. I just need a little bit for about 20 seconds on that mountain. Looking like there might be some light in a minute. I think the rain's stopping. I think this could be it. Right, let's go. Come on, light, nearly there. So it's fair to say today's been a struggle. I haven't really settled today, but I think the problem I've had really is the rain has been off and on. It can't really make up its mind. I'm kind of thinking at any moment the clouds are going to clear and it's going to be beautiful, but it hasn't happened. I've seen a couple of little bits of light at Loughrigg Tarn, which were worth waiting for, those hour or so. I've seen some nice, on the way through I went over to the Rhinos Pass, and had a little drive up there for a little way, and did some nice drone footage, which I'll show you now, some nice images with the drone, because drones are great at that kind of thing. I'm going to do a video on that soon. I've actually done the start of it today, so I haven't wasted my day, but I have come to the Loughrigg Forest, which is where I am at the moment. I'm in the car park, but it's hammering down and the forest looks quite open. I mean, I'm sure it's a little bit more dense over that way, but it's 2 in the afternoon, the light is non-existent, it's grey, it's miserable, I'm wet, I'm thirsty, and I'm actually quite tired. The other thing I was going to possibly do was to do the Loughrigg Forest in the morning, but the forecast again is for heavy rain from pretty much 6 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock, and I'm going to go home tomorrow. I've got things to do Wednesday, so gonna call it a day there. I think we'll see what we get out of this. I've just had a look at the footage, and I think the vlog is going to be interesting enough for you. Hopefully, I think you'll enjoy it. So the stuff at Loughrigg Tarn I've enjoyed taking, and it's been quite informative. So I've been to Loughrigg Tarn twice, but it's been lovely to spend some time in the lakes. It's a great place to come. I think I've just been unlucky with the weather, maybe. So I'll come back in a couple of months' time and we'll do spring. That will be good. So maybe then we'll get to Loughrigg Fell. So in the meantime, thanks ever so much for tuning in. As ever, subscribe if you haven't, like the video, all that stuff. Till next week then, goodbye.